Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the March 21st meeting of the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair this year. Joining me today is Commissioner Aaron Mays with an ominous thud.
Good morning.
Commissioner Bill Rippon with no ominous thud.
Good morning.
Also joining us today is Cindy Beck, our county clerk, and Rich Eckert, our county counselor. Ms. Beck, what's our first item?
Well, I think our first item would be, we have today's a special day.
Oh, yeah.
Can I do that before we
Yes.
get on to business? Today's a very special day for someone. It is Courtney House's birthday.
Oh,
So I think it's only fair, as our Public Works Director, that he gets a little birthday song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kurt. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
Someone's been talking.
that right there is worth the price of admission.
It is.
All right.
Okay. First item is item 3, consent agenda.
Are there any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda, or is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
This morning, we have vouchers totaling $3,647,128.79. Two items I want to point out on there under sales tax, $850,000 to KDOT. That's for the 7th loan payment out of 10 loan payments on the Willard Bridge. And then under sewer districts, $187,841.65 is to the city of Topeka. That is for operation and maintenance of the Sherwood Treatment Center. So I don't have any questions about this. I would move for approval.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Mays.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A3, acknowledge receipt of petition to create Sterling Chase Subdivision Number 5, Phase 1, Street Benefit District. And all we're asking you to do is just acknowledge receipt of this petition. It has been reviewed by Public Works, and our bond counsel has reviewed it. A resolution will be put on the agenda in a week or two to get the thing rolling, but we want to get the petition on for acknowledgement.
All acknowledge receipt today, or move to acknowledge receipt.
Second.
Motion to acknowledge receipt by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Thank you, Commissioners. Item B, Bond Council number 1, public hearing and consider approval of resolution number 2024-20, authorizing the issuance of single-family mortgage revenue bonds, 2024 Series A of the Shawnee County, Kansas, in an aggregate amount, principal amount not to exceed $20 million.
Good morning, Bob Perry. This resolution basically continues a 30-plus year practice of the county of sponsoring a single-family mortgage revenue bond or home buyers program. We haven't issued bonds since the market crashed in '08 and mortgage rates had dropped. But the bankers and the home, I don't know what you'd call it, there's a company called Housing E-Commerce, which basically is a sophisticated compliance housing company that teaches bankers and lenders the requirements and the particulars of different types of loans that are available, whether they're government sponsored or not. But based upon what's gone on in the industry throughout the United States over the last year and a half, mortgage rates have gone up enough, and the interest rates on these bonds would be tax exempt, so they would be lower interest costs. Therefore, the passed through to the potential borrowers who are low and moderate income, first-time home borrowers, would potentially get a lower interest rate. This is a small issue for this type of bond issue, simply because they're usually done in $300 million aggregate amounts with a series of 5 or 6 tranches each of $50 to $60 million. They're just testing the market for Kansas bankers, basically, is what they're doing. If the market goes away, nothing's gonna get done anyways. These bonds are like IRBs, or industrial revenue bonds, excuse me. They're neither a debt nor an obligation of the county. The county cannot use tax revenues for payment of these bonds, and is not liable for the payment or repayment of these bonds. These bonds are repaid from the payment of the mortgages and prepayment of mortgages by the borrowers, and the earnings on the funds that are idle funds until they're lent out to the borrowers. Before you consider or discuss the resolution, you'll need to open the public hearing. If there's anybody with questions or comments, they can ask them and make them. Close it, and then either pass or not pass the resolution.
Before we open the public hearing, are there any questions for bond counsel?
I don't have it.
Commissioner Rippon?
Yeah.
Bob, what kind of houses does this build or buy?
Well, basically, Kevin, this depends upon the demographics of the area in which the loan is to be made. If you live in a, generally, and these are just generally, but, and it's driven by statistics, and it's driven by parameters, and written by the tax code for these types of tax exempt bonds. But if you live in an urban area, a single family criteria, the home price would be a little bit less than if you're in an urban area married with kids. That price would go up. Part of the program that is existed in this county, or that's been sponsored by Sedgwick County and Shawnee County since about 2010, has taken the leftover funds from the old bond issues prior to 2008 and used those funds to help low and moderate income folks basically get down payment assistance. It's contemplated that that would continue. So what would qualify in the city of Topeka will be different than what would qualify in Kansas City, Kansas versus El Dorado, Kansas versus Hayes, Kansas, for example.
So while Topeka in Shawnee County, or Shawnee County Commission specifically, is the sponsor of this resolution, these monies are not necessarily just going to stay in Shawnee County.
No, this program has been in existence since the mid-'80s, either as bonds or as the down payment assistance program. And lenders sign up to participate, they originate the loans. Those loans get eventually sold and bundled into the market. But part of that over the years, with all the changes that have occurred with lending, in particular than home lending, is each type of lender, depending upon the type of borrower, has different criteria it needs to make. So there's a continual educational process for the bankers. And then there's only so many what they call servicers, people that actually will service these loans for the 30-year life or until the house is sold and gets paid off. And U.S. Bank is the one that's part of this program. The only one in the area that I can think of off the top of my head is Capital Federal, frankly.
Having asked those questions, are there any additional questions from commissioners?
Good.
At this time, I would make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion to open public hearing by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Public hearing is open. Are there any members of the public that wish to ask any questions in favor of this resolution? Any in opposition? Seeing none, is there a motion to close and adopt?
I'll move that we close and adopt.
Motion to close and adopt by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Okay, thank you very much, Bob. Our next item.
Item C, Public Works. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-116-2024 with Motorola Solutions for the purchase of 35 budget-approved communication radios with chargers and extra batteries at a total cost of $79,988.03. Funding will come from the 2024 Public Works operating budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. Our present radios are 20 years old. We can't service them. The parts aren't available. So it's time to replace those. We've been working with the Sheriff's Department, the radio group over there, and they provided great technical assistance for us. We finally decided on a radio, and so we'd like to move ahead with first-year purchase. We'd like to, again, I don't know if you remember from our budget presentations that this is a 2-year process, and this is kind of the first half of the total purchase. But with your blessing, we get these 35 radios, we put them out there where they're most needed. We follow up next year. These radios are compatible with the Sheriff Department's radios, everyone else's radios. We're not buying on contract because it's a county contract, and our purchasing policy does not allow us to buy on county contracts, but we're buying sole source and using the pricing from the contract, so it's the best of both worlds. And with that, I look forward to any questions you might have.
Any questions for Kurt?
These radios, they're also compatible with our emergency management?
Yes, I believe so, absolutely.
All right,
You bet.
that's my only question.
Is there a motion?
I'll move we approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Rippon,
Second.
second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you, Kurt. Our next item.
Item D, Health Department. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-117-2024, a clinical affiliation agreement with Baker University School of Nursing to provide facilities for nursing students for on-site training.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher, Director of the Health Department. This is a current agreement we have. We just revisited the agreement with Baker, made some changes both on their end and our end to have it more in agreement with our other ones. This is an opportunity that we have to host usually junior or senior level nursing students and introduce them to public health. It's a real opportunity to showcase what public health is beyond just what a lot of students think, which is typically our immunizations department, and show them the different facets of what makes up public health in hopes that we might spur some interest in a potential career. So there's no cost associated with this. We host them throughout both the fall and spring semester. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions?
No?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you very much, Teresa. Our next item.
Item E, Information Technology. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-118-2024 with Lauer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning for a replacement HVAC system at the Health Department's J.P. Lewis Building. Cost of $13,983 to be funded from the 2024 contingency fund.
Morning, Commissioners. Mark Price, Information Technology. This is to replace an existing air conditioner unit that was in the old server room that actually existed at the building when we purchased it. Over the last year, we've started to lose Freon in that. The Samco, or I think was who's come out and serviced it, they've been able to replace the Freon, but it's leaking out again, and it's also the older Freon, which has gotten very expensive, and their recommendation is for replacement. So we went and got bids, and Lauer was the lowest of the three, and would like to get it replaced.
So specifically, this is an air conditioning unit for computer servers.
Correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure it's clear why the IT department is venturing into the facilities management world.
Is the only area that this unit serves is a probably about 8 by 16 room that houses computer equipment, and without it, it gets very hot. Right now, they're having to leave the door propped open so it doesn't overheat.
Okay. Questions?
I mean, $14,000 for an 8 by 16 room seems like an awful lot. I mean, I don't know. I know commercial construction seems to cost a lot more than residential, but
The other thing is these units also do humidity control. So that's one thing I think that drives the price up of just the regular at-home units or smaller units.
And this is on pretty much 24 hours a day?
Yes, that's a unique thing, is it has to be able to run in the winter because that room stays warm whether it is 90 degrees outside or if it's 30 degrees outside, it's still a hot room.
As opposed to your home unit that's kicking on and off to regulate the temperature?
Correct.
Okay. So this is a little bit more unique than what you might see in your home or residence?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Is there a motion? I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item.
Item F, Commission, number 1, consider the appointment of Gary Jellison to fill the Topeka Township Treasurer vacancy.
Mr. Jellison has come forth and offered to fill that position with the Topeka Township Treasurer. Seems to meet the qualifications. I see no reason not to appoint Mr. Jellison to that position. I'll make a motion.
A second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item F2, acknowledge the retirement of Gary Brown as chairman of the Shawnee County Fire District Number 1 and appoint Mike Killian to serve the remainder of the term.
Okay. Ms. Beck, is this one of our fire districts that we receive their recommendation and just move on it?
Right, and this is the position that the county appoints on this fire board. So
Okay.
this is exactly what you're doing is right.
Just say, Mr. Killian's served on this board before, so his wheels
Yes.
are already off the ground.
Yes.
All right.
So I'll move that we approve this appointment.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 5, public comment.
Okay, we do have an individual signed up, Mr. James Bolden. I would only ask that when you come to the podium, you state your name for the clerk, make sure they properly record it.
My name is James Bolden, Junior, actually. I want to thank the, coming before the Honorable Mayor, Honorable Commissioners, and I'll just get right to it. The question is, what is considered a small business? Go Topeka appears as though they have no direction in regards to whom they are to help. If a small businessman needed someone to build a website or help market a business through the World Wide Web, who would Go Topeka refer to? I asked this question with no credible results. This is basic economics 101. It appears to me they do not understand the needs of a small business. Our youth have no incentive to stay here unless they want a production job. We need to build toward the future, from automotive, computers, smart homes, phones, internet, electric cars, boats, appliances, etc. We are now in a digital age. Excuse me here, I've lost my place. And Topeka needs to ramp up and be the leader in the industry. Just get off note a second here. If you keep up with the news, you'll see that Intel, the federal government is giving Intel billions of dollars in grants to build into technology. During the COVID crisis, there was cars that could not be built. And they could not be built because the semiconductor industry was overseas. This could be a crucial time for the Topeka community, Shawnee County, to get involved to keep our kids home. We now have the Washburn Tech skilled laborers. I also believe that if we could look into attract technology companies, we would be able to keep our youth right here. Topeka lacks modern technology. Electronics is of the future, and with my degree in electronics from MIT, 1981, fairly old now, know exactly what we need to attract the youth. We need to move toward the future. Topeka would be a viable place for us to live and our children. The reason the production of the cars was limited during COVID-19 is because we had to depend on foreign companies to produce the circuit boards for the car manufacturers. We will partner with these companies to build right here in Topeka. We cannot allow Wichita to continue to outpace us. We need to bring skilled jobs to Topeka, along with production jobs. Washburn Tech is training skilled workers, which we need to learn how to articulate those skills, labor forces. As I begin to age, I ask the Lord, what is next for me? I have from my early 30s made a commitment to serve the Lord. I am fortunate to have a mentor that the Lord blessed me with to show me the right direction to go in life. Simply said, read your Bible. About 20 years old then. At the time I had no idea of what he was talking about. As a reborn again, I serve Christ now. I understood I need to change my ways. I understood I was born to serve Jesus. His sacrifice gave me a second chance to make it right. Oh, how I love Jesus. This is what has brought me to this chamber today. There's an old saying, it goes something like this: do not complain about things if you're not willing to change them. As the owner of my company for 20 years, you can check our reviews online through Google, or we can present our references of businesses we have served in the past. It has always been my responsibility to get the job done. As a leader, I cannot and will not shift responsibility. Realizing that dealing with people is challenging work, only because we have different versions of how we see things. As I open my eyes into the hills from which cometh my help cometh from the Lord who had made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He will watches over Israel, neither slumbers nor sleep. I have worked for my father for many years, Mid-America Aviation, Forbesville. He brought the air show here, amongst many other events at Forbesville. It made Forbesville a living. I never liked the pay my father paid. It was usually minimum wage. However, before he died, he indicated that I got the training. I used that training throughout my life. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Now, my body is breaking down, and I can no longer do the physical work that I used to do. I still have ideas I would like to pursue, which would better our community. I would be willing to sacrifice my time to lead the 10% funding as an independent contractor from the interlocal agreement to head up minority business. In my tenure at Paradigm 2 LLC, we have signed many construction contracts for my business. Government contracts or private contracts. We understand how the industry works after 20 years of training. Times were particularly good dealing with experienced men in the field. I dealt with public works and federal jobs, superintendents in private sector, and project managers. Locally, Kansas City, Fort Riley Military Base, and the Manhattan, Kansas. As a black businessman, I understand the challenges that lie ahead, knowing it will take skills to run a business. It is not for everyone. My goal is to distinguish to my best ability who would be a viable candidate for grants or loans before receiving taxpayer dollars, and to be a good steward of taxpayer dollars. 1968, engineers from Fairchild Semiconductor founded Intel Corporation to develop silicone-based chips. Moore's Law and transistor scaling. Moore's Law predicted the doubling of transistor count every 18 to 24 months. Over time, microprocessors became more powerful due to increased transistor density. Today, microprocessor designers focus on silicone production processes, efficient manufacturing technologies, minimizing space occupied by the chip, reducing energy usage, managing thermal issues, enhancing performance through design. Rather than relying solely on clock speed increases, designers emphasize multi-core architectures. Efficient software code contributes significantly to overall system performance. Better compilers and software tools enhance microprocessor capabilities. Silicon technology, architecture integration, self-testing, caches, coprocessors continue to evolve. Advances in microprocessors enable machine learning and AI applications. In summary, while the microprocessor core concept remains, its design efficiency and capabilities have evolved dramatically. We stand at the intersection of old technology and possibilities. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Bolden. Are there any other members of the public that wish to offer any comment? Our next item.
Item 6, Administrative Communications.
This is an opportunity for any department head or employee to address the commission.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dustin Nichols, Emergency Management. This is kind of a thank you shout out to Kurt and his guys over at Public Works. We work with them to get the bucket trucks so we can go out and do siren maintenance, so the guys are out there as well. This is also an announcement that we are doing maintenance on our sirens, and part of that comes from a thank you from the public for giving us feedback on which ones are acting odd or not working at all. So thank you to the public for giving that feedback, and thank you to Kurt and his guys for getting us the bucket truck. So.
Well, I mean, Dusty, it does beg the question, how did our siren tests work, and what's kind of the scope of the Shawnee County? Are we mostly covered, somewhat covered, or?
Yes, we had a couple of sirens, I think it was a total of 4 that we knew we had some issues with. But like I said, the feedback, we test them every Monday at noon. On the first Monday of every month, we'll do an alternate test, which we call it. It's the it sounds like an air raid siren. It's an alternating tone, and sometimes that gets just more attention a regular straight, horn blast. Those kinds of situations, usually we hear nothing. So when they don't work or they sound weird, quote unquote, we get some feedback from people who live close to it and let us know, hey, it's not working, or it's something is strange with it. Because of the storm last week and the attention that was brought to the sirens, we took that as an opportunity to educate how we run our sirens, which is when those warnings come out, it comes out for tornado warning usually. Shawnee County, so blast, that first blast for 3 minutes, and then we focus in on just the warned area. We've been doing that for years, and that caught some attention this last storm, which was fine. People got the warning. That's the whole intent of the sirens going out, is to get attention and have people take cover and protect themselves. But what that did do is on our Monday test this last week, people paid a little bit more attention to them, and we got feedback. So we got the bucket truck, we got our maintenance out there. Most of the time it's a battery issue. Something's happened with it. Sometimes it's somebody thinks it's copper's in there or something like that. There is not, for the thieves out there. There's no copper on that, so stay out of the boxes, please. So damage comes to them, lightning hits them. There's all kinds of different things that can happen. But we know usually from the feedback from our data from the software systems. Other times it's just feedback from the public. So either way, we're out there checking them today.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dusty.
Thank you.
Courtney House, Director of Public Works. It was back in September of 2020, we started the process to replace 3 signals on South Topeka Boulevard. I am pleased to announce that Monday, work will begin east side of Topeka Boulevard at Gary Ormsby Drive. So I'm very pleased to hear that work is starting. The poles won't be until June, but there's a lot of work that can be done without the poles on site, and I look forward to the project. I would encourage the public to be aware. There should be minimal impacts to traffic, but nevertheless, there could be an occasional lane closure. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other administrative communications? Commissioner Rippon?
Don't have anything.
Commissioner Mays?
Nothing for me.
Looks like it might be a little bit wet this weekend, so as always, be weather aware. So I don't have anything additional. Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 7, executive session.
There is a need for an executive session not to exceed 20 minutes for personnel matters of non-elected personnel, and we would start at 9:40. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. We are adjourned to go into executive session.
totally understand.
You know, still back in front of the staff.
We are back from executive session. No action was taken. We are adjourned.